Afraid demo number 2. From demo to disc, this is Anatomy of a Song.
Can we take it from the top?
Welcome back to Anatomy of a Song. This is part 2 of my interview with Gavyn Thorsell. We're sitting here in our studio in Blairsville. It's getting cold.
Yeah, no,
It's
out
like-
of nowhere. It's been like hot all fall, and now it's like freezing.
Yeah, we're up in North Georgia. We're up in the mountains. I think actually we're sitting at about, I think someone told me that this building is like, we're 2,500 feet.
Yeah,
So
everything is at a high elevation.
We're higher up here, and we get winter a little bit earlier, and winter was kind of like delayed.
Yeah, it was
and
like stalling.
it was like
It's
70
weird.
degrees last Monday. It's just a
Yeah.
Thursday we're doing this, and it's in the 30s or in the 20s tonight or something like that. I like it.
I like it too, other than I work in a warehouse that has minimal heating.
yeah.
But it also has minimal cool, like AC, so
Yep.
it's either extremely hot, extremely cold. No in between.
Well, so we're going to do now part 2 of our conversation. I was having so much fun with the first one. I just wanted to keep going. So we're going to break this into 2 parts. This is part number 2. And we were talking about Postcard. Mm-hmm. And we talked about your journey. And we were up to the point where you were, you told us about going out to Oklahoma and meeting Zach Bryan's cousin.
Yeah, meeting Zach Bryan too and everything.
Yeah, and meeting Zach Bryan and getting called out by Zach Bryan for not knowing the Kings of Leon, which is so awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
If you're going to get called out, that's a great story. You know, well, Sting was telling me the other day that's, blah, 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 or whatever. That's a great story. So let's pick up the thread then. And here's the song Postcard. So tell me where the idea came from, bit by bit. Was it a little bit of guitar part, or take it away?
Yeah, so it started in the way of like how I write all the time. Is I'm just messing with my guitar. It was like probably 3 a.m, can't sleep, bad insomniac, and that's the story of how most of my songs start. Mm-hmm. But I started messing around with this little chord frame, and I was kind of just like, and I didn't know what to do past here, but I was like, try something like real open, and then keeping it open. I was like, ooh, I like that. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna see what I can do with that. So I always like hum a little tune. So I'm like, so I was like, okay, so how can I go farther on that? And I was thinking about the story of like all this traveling that I've been doing for music, and also because it was 3 a.m, I was just like, here's a lyric for you. It's 3 a.m. and I'm in my head again. I'll take a drive, going 85, just to clear my mind. And that second part, I was like, I kind of want to like make something that's like almost nostalgic sounding, because I got that feeling from it. So I was just like, the 3 a.m, I'm in my head again. I'll take a drive, going 85, just to clear my mind. So I'm also a massive nerd, and if anybody knows about Back to the Future, 85 miles an hour, time travel.
That's
and
it.
So I was like, that would be kind of like a cool little thing to put in there. And so where is it? 3 a.m, I'm in my head again. Take a drive. When 85,
Clear your mind.
just to clear my mind. Takes me back in time to a place I'm too unrecognized. In my grandparents' line when they said it's better in 1969. And I just kind of like looped it back around just to like my grandparents, and like that was my influence. And I was like, how can I loop it around in that? Which also, whenever I write, I always just kind of let it flow. I like anybody who asks me about writing music, it's always what I say is it just has to flow out of you. So usually my first verses, I'm figuring out what I want the song to be. So it's kind of like up to that point. And then I was thinking, I was like, I don't really write very many pre-choruses at the time, is what I was thinking. I was like, you know what, I'm going to see what I can do. So I took that C, because like everything's like real open in the very beginning of the song. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to open this up, and I'm just going to kind of like make a real big open chord to push into the chorus. And then I was like, and why are emotions so complicated now? I see everyone has found their way out. Which I love the like indie vibe in there with like the, and so I was like, yeah, like that has a vibe to it. And I was like, I need something catchy though if it's gonna have a pre-chorus like that. And that's where the story that I told before kind of comes in. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the Jim Croce thing and kind of use the states' names and everything. And as I was like, yeah, like let's write about that a little bit. It's just like, well, think about the last few months you had. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. So I could be like this. I can go, I'm going back to Oklahoma, head west till I hit California. When I make it back, I'll tell you where I'm at. I'll send a postcard back to Georgia. But yeah, like just keeping that like open kind of vibe, and I loved the play on words with the states and everything, because it's just like the progression was like I'm going back to Oklahoma, and at the time I'd figured out that I was gonna be going back, which I ended up doing that. It was actually like 2 weeks ago with my full band, did it again, did the whole deal again, talked to Zach a little bit more. Because he was surprised that there again. I thought he wasn't going to come back after how many people were there last time.
Home, I guess.
Bothering him. But, and hung out with him again. So I had figured out that around the time that I wrote this song that we were going again. So I was like, oh, I'm going back to Oklahoma. And so I put that in there, and then the heading to California. And I've always been like, I just want to travel. Like, when I was younger, I was like, yeah, Mom and Dad, I'm going to buy a van, and I'm going to build it out, and I'm just going to live in there, and I'm just going to travel the country. And so I was like, yeah, so I'll send a postcard back to Georgia. I was like, that has a nice vibe bringing it back around to home. And then the second verse, whenever I figured out, like, that's really what I want it to be about, and that's kind of what I want the song to be shaped in, I came up with that second verse, which hold on, let me think. So bad at like stopping and starting. Hold on, I'm gonna restart at the end of the chorus. Send a postcard back to Georgia. Here we go. Now I remember it. Yeah. It's been a while since I've been calling. I see my face and I don't even recognize me. I'll cut my hair and change my name. Still the same kid from yesterday, trying to make the best of these modern days. But yeah, I wrote that second verse, and I was thinking it's been a while since I've been calling, kind of came from the fact that I had really, in that year, started growing more distant from people that I had been around before, because I was, the time I went to Oklahoma, I was a junior in high school, and in my junior year, I really stopped hanging out with a bunch of people, because I was like, I know what I want to do. School has nothing involved with that. I actually did try to drop out. My parents, I thought I almost died, but I ended up not dropping out, and because I wanted to go get my GED, because I'm like, screw this. I was like, I know what I want to do. I know my direction, and I just want to do that. And I put that line in there. It's like, it's been a while since I've been calling. You see I see my face, and I don't even recognize me. Because I was just like, I become a completely different person, I felt like. It was like this huge change that I felt like was going on in my life, and my mentality, and just like how I wanted to be. And it's like the part where it's like, I'll cut my hair and change my name, still the same kid from yesterday. I had gotten a haircut at the time. I used to have hair down to my shoulders, and I got a haircut for whatever reason. I'm growing it back out again. I miss it. It's like, I don't know why I keep doing it. I always go back. But
because you can.
And then
same reason everyone does.
Yeah. I had with the change my name parts, just like back to that feeling. It was just like there's a change coming. It's just like I feel like I'm moving into this thing that's like this like big deal. I just don't know what yet. And put that in there, and then it goes back to that pre-chorus, just kind of on that wondering of just like my observation of other people, because and why are emotions so complicated now? I see everyone is finding their way out. It's just like, I've noticed that about people nowadays, is that they that they make everything so complicated, especially as far as emotions. Like, nobody wants to express art, or they want to make it this big drawn out thing, and everybody's just looking for some sort of escape. And I'm the pot calling the kettle black on this one for sure. But it was just kind of like, I was like, I want to put this observation in there, because it's just like, with all the chaos of everything going on and everything changing, it's just like that observation. It's almost like a reminder to myself too, is that it's just like, don't just like try to find an escape because things aren't going your way. And that leads in that pre-chorus. And then in the studio, we did a really cool thing where because I kind of sing more falsetto in that part, but we doubled the tracks and panned them left to right, so that it's like this like really big like atmospheric thing in production. That it's my favorite thing I've ever done on a song. I think it's the coolest thing ever. But that's really the whole song. It had a solo after that, and then just like a real mellow dropout chorus that's just like long string out chords. But
was there a bridge?
Yeah, no, there's actually not a bridge.
Okay.
It just goes straight into because right after that pre-chorus, there's another chorus, and then there's a solo, and which is done by my producer and engineer. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting names.
What's his name?
His name is Justin Farrington.
Okay.
And yeah.
Shout out to Justin.
Yeah. Shout out to Justin. Amazing engineer.
Guitar
I'm so
solo?
lucky.
And
And
guitar
guitar
solo?
player.
Okay.
Like, absolutely absurdly amazing.
Yeah.
His solo on the song is absolutely great.
Yeah.
And then it just has like this like real like intimate, emotional kind of like ending, just like one last chorus that's just like this just real, just like
Yeah.
this like that kind of thing going on. But yeah, this has been a super fun song to write and to work on. We've been working on it since the beginning of this year, and it's finally coming out. We did a 3-song project, me and my buddy Sam. We actually ended up first recording it with his dad, who's also conveniently named Sam. So he had recorded these songs with us in his little home studio, and Justin did all the mixing and mastering. And on this song, we had to do a bunch of different work on the drums and everything, and then we lost several tracks sending them over, so I had to do a lot of re-recording and do some different stuff with the vocals and different guitar parts. But the 3 songs that I've worked on recently, which are Someone New, A Year, and then Postcard, finally, on this 3-song project I've been working on this year. Definitely my best so far.
We used to call it an EP. I don't know what you call it now. Kind of.
Yeah, they were all released as singles. Originally, the idea was an EP,
Yeah.
but I took so much time to perfect each one of them, because one thing when I was younger was, especially like starting in music, because the first project I released was when I was 16, and I had just went to a studio with a guy named Jimmy Smith, who's also absolutely amazing, and I just recorded, and it was just me and an acoustic guitar. And my buddy Chandler, who's the lead singer brother, ended up producing on that. And I just played guitar and sung, and we did 6 songs pretty much as fast as we could. We didn't really do any like quantizing or any of the stuff that I know about now that I should have been doing, that I kick myself every single time I hear my EP scars, that I'm like, I could have done better. I could have done that differently. But for this project, I really, really, really just wanted to focus on each song and just make it the best that I possibly could with the resources I had. And I'm super proud of it, and I'm super excited to get back in the studio and work on more stuff, because I have so much more from this year that I've been writing that I'm really excited about. So.
And I have your permission to put it as part of this podcast at the end of it. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And we'll put links on it as well. Let me just, before we move away from the song, because in this podcast we talk about the process of where the spark comes from, where's the inspiration, how does it become it, and then I talk a little bit about the demo process, because there are a lot of people out there who are, don't know that want to be songwriters. They don't know the process of it. There's an old saying that I made up, which is learn the rules, because there are rules to songwriting. Learn the rules, then break them. Because that's your job. That's your job as a songwriter.
That's how you make it different.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm writing your song or you're writing my song. Just write your own song. Learn the rules and break them, but learn the rules. And so the rules are that things have to be in tempo, they have to be in time, and they've got to be in tune.
That's the hardest one for me.
Tempo
and time.
People have trouble with that. I swear to God. My brother, I was in a band with my brother many years ago, and he's a drummer, and he brought his band into my studio to record. One of the bands of his I wasn't in. And my brother he's a drummer and he couldn't follow time to save his life. Couldn't follow a click track. And so finally I gave up. We tried and I said, just play. It doesn't matter.
Let's just do this Led Zeppelin style.
That's right. Let's just do it, and it turned out fine. It was a great little album. But so anyway, so part of the process of what we do in this podcast is talk about the journey that the song takes from 3 a.m. You wake up with the idea in your head and then you refine it over time and then you take it into the studio. And I want to know if did the song change when you brought it into the studio, and if so, how?
Yeah.
And if yes, how much? So how did it change, and how much did it change?
Biggest change to this song, and the biggest change that I had been having whenever I had been recording these 3 different songs, is that my first project, the only things that are on the recorded tracks is just my acoustic guitar and then my vocals. And that is like all I had done so far. Well, I was like, this needs something more. It's like I need my music to have something more than that. So we were adding other instruments and everything, but everything that I write starts with just me and a guitar. And for this song in particular was the one that changed the most, because I was listening to it and I'm just like, this is, if out of any of the other songs, this song is your standard, almost like kind of like a rock song. I mean, it's verse, or it's intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and then that verse
and repeat,
pre-chorus, chorus, solo, and do this drawn out big ending.
Yeah.
That's just like this like little thing, and
kind of a tag section where it repeats it, just
like a little tag section where it repeats the chorus.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want drums on this, and my buddy's dad was like, okay. So we just used like his little keyboard drums, which we ended up changing. And we used acoustic drums later on. It was actually, surprisingly, and you as a studio guy are probably going to laugh at this, we actually did it last. The last thing that went on was drums because we did not like the sound of them.
Usually you do them earlier. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So it was
not a hard and fast rule. Learn the rules, then break them, right?
And the funniest part is that me and my engineer, both of us, don't really know anything about drums, so we straight up just sampled sounds of my drum set downstairs. Yeah. And the poor guy went back and he replaced every single note or every single beat.
Yeah, I've done that.
And every little thing.
I've done that. Yeah.
Just with those recorded sounds.
That's
so
awesome.
Shout out to Justin for spending hours of what I can imagine was just banging his head up against the decks for this song. But
I've got a drum set over there, and I play, but I'm meat and potatoes. I'm
that's
solid 4/4. I'm like a Ringo drummer, just basically getting the basic sort of. But I finally found a local guy. If you need a drummer, I've got a local guy who's really good.
Oh, sick!
And his name's Larry. Shout out to Larry. And he is Larry Sheneman. He's up in Murphy, North Carolina, not too far from where we're sitting.
For sure.
And he was in a band, and the band kind of went its way, and he was kind of available, and we fell into each other and into each other's company. And it turns out, and drummers are great, because I find them to be. Drummers are usually like the least drama people in a band. My experience.
It's always the guitar players.
It's always the guitar player.
Too much egos. We have
They're the
too
drama
much
queens.
Ego.
Yeah, I swear to God.
We're just big old drama queens.
That's it. And the drummers are like golden retrievers. They just want to play. They just want to make everybody happy. I just want to play. Oh, what do you got? What's the beat? And Larry's great. He's not a golden retriever, but he's a really good guy, and he comes in and we just knock around stuff. So to keep you from like cutting and pasting your drum, which is the way that I've done it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I will go through and there's a group called Fleetwood Mac came out, many years ago. Everyone knows Fleetwood Mac, I guess.
Fleetwood Mac, yeah.
And when they started, there was a period where where Lindsey Buckingham came into the group, and he was having, he kind of changed the way they made their songs, and he would record the drums like one piece at a time, like just do one track of just play the kick drum. That was
hard on reel to reel too. I can imagine that.
Just play the kick drum, and now we're going to go through, and you're just going to play the snare drum. Now you're just going to do the crashes. Now you're just going to do the hi-hat. And, so he would break it down rather than have the drummer.
Yeah, which that's more of a modern thing. Because, with all the programming stuff that you have
now.
Like my buddy Devin will program drums, and he's insane at programming. He's an insane drummer himself. And that's how you do it on there. And it's so time-consuming, though. Like, just watching
for me it is,
each beat go in, I'm just like, ooh.
People who do it well, they fly through it. I'm like, what are you doing? That's so great,
Yeah.
But I also like the sound of old drums as well. Like that's an old
acoustic drums.
That was my brother's snare drum. That's an old piccolo snare drum, and I'm actually getting getting back another snare drum tomorrow. It's coming up from Savannah and all, but that's an electronic set beyond it. So my stuff's always a mix of the two, but it does help for guitar players like us. It helps to have a drummer in your life, a guy who came up through drumming and knows drumming, and that's how they see a song. Because I see a song and I can hear the different parts like you do, but he'll listen to the same kind of song and he'll hear the drum parts. Yeah. And I love the way the two come together. So if you need a drummer, let me know. And Larry loves to play, and we can do it here. But whatever.
But and talking about the song.
Yeah, please back to the song. We digress. So
so I wanted electric guitars on it, and I had never really done electric guitars on any of my own music. And so we're just like messing around, and I really just did like the drawn out chords when we were originally recording it. And then whenever I went back and had to redo stuff with Justin, then we kind of redid some of that, and he added some little embellishments and stuff. And then into the solo, and shaping the tones was probably my favorite part of that, because like we were just like, oh, we want the telly on this part, we want the strat on this part.
Yep.
It's just like we were doing all that. It's like, oh, but maybe with a little bit of humbucker sound. It's like, which do the neck pickup on the Les Paul, and it's just like, so that was that was so much fun as a guitar player for me, because I don't really get to branch out into electric a lot, especially nowadays, because when I gig and everything, it's like acoustic country. Yeah. And which I have a band now, which I'm super excited about, because it means that I get to pick up my Les Paul and my Strat a little bit. But then on the vocals was probably the hardest and most head-aching part to me, because I'm my worst critic. So like when it comes to vocals, I always think I sound like a dying cat, no matter what it is.
You don't, but yes, I understand. Yeah, that's how we hear ourselves.
But so we were in for vocals, and I wanted to redo the vocals because I did not like the original takes that I did with Sam and them. So we're redoing the vocals, and we get to that pre-chorus, and then and he doubles the tracks and then does the high parts, and that is the coolest part of the song. If you don't listen to the song for anything else other than that, I would be totally fine with that, because that's the best part of it. And then we wanted to make the chorus have a little bit more impact, even still to this day, because like somebody said something to me, is that music is never finished, it's abandoned. And I loved that saying, because it is so true.
I do too. I don't know who said it, but I love that saying.
It's so true. Yeah. But because like, even in the chorus, it's like the hardest part, and I still feel like it wasn't perfect, is making it like super big. Yeah. And like with the vocals, but
Isn't that what makes it better, though? Isn't that what makes it better, though? It's the striving for perfection, but knowing that you may not achieve it. Yeah. But it's the journey towards it.
Yeah, and it's also what I love about that, too, is I've noticed this with like a lot of great artists that I've seen live, because I'm a big concert goer, is that when you do that in the studio, I mean, you have so much time with this song live, and you're going to play it 1,000,000 times live. So then you keep on improving, and your live shows become so much infinitely better. Like a great example of that, of somebody who I've seen live, is a band called Houndmouth. And I saw them open for Greta Van Fleet, and I remember seeing them live, and they've been around for forever. And they had played their set, and I'm like, holy crap, this is the most rockin' band ever. And I love the recorded music, but it is like the energy that they had on stage, and like the sound that they had compared to their recorded music was like night and day. And I was like, I like that though. I was like, because it gives you something fresh. And their recorded music is amazing. Amazing vocalist, amazing guitar player. They got a great keys player and drummer. They used to have a female vocalist. I don't know what ended up happening to that. I don't really know that much about them. But the sound contrast and how they were is so interesting. And I was like, I want to be that. I want to be that, like, you got to go see them live. Is like, I want that community within that. I'm trying to think some other bands that I've seen. Wyatt Flores and his group, because like he's in my genre and he does what I do, and like doing like the acoustic kind of country stuff. It's like that's what you're used to hearing from him, and like you get to hear a little bit of like the rock stuff and like a little bit of that. But in the studio, it's so much different than live. Yeah. And then whenever you get all your musicians up on stage, and then also whenever you have a fiddle player has freedom to play whatever the heck they want in the solo section, because us musicians know we don't plan that. Just like we're just like, oh, we know the key, let's just screw around and find out. And having the guitar player just like being able to do that, and just like the energy that you're able to bring live, that you can't really bring in the studio because you have to focus on it so much. You got to think on so much, and then all the little imperfections that it catches that you're just like, oh, this can't be here. It's something I found very interesting within music, and it's just like the more you play a song, even as artists, like we get tired of our own songs, but like just getting to change them, those little bits, and like over time to make them fresh, I just think makes it so much better.
You almost want to go back into the studio after you played it live for a
Exactly,
year
yeah.
and re-record the album, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But then you've already written 10 new songs and you want to put that out. So
Yeah.
yeah, boom, 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 boom. That's always the thing you run up against. Okay, cool. Then before we let you go, let's talk about next project. So you're working on. You told me Postcards is coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, it's coming out tomorrow, which is
Okay.
the 22nd. So
Yeah.
I don't know when this comes out.
This
but, yeah.
I'll get this cut together. This will be out in about a week or so.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
so it'll be out to you guys.
Right,
So
by
if
the
you
time
guys,
you hear this, it'll
so
be
you
out.
guys have
Yeah.
fun and listen to it. I hope you guys like it. It's 3 a.m. and I'm in my head again. I'll take a drive, going 85, just to clear my mind. Takes me back in time to a place I'm too young to recognize. In my grandparents' lie when they said it's better in 1969. Why are emotions so complicated now? See, everyone has found their way out.
Okay, I want to thank our guest, Gavyn Thorsell, for coming out to our studio here. This is the Sawmill.
Well, thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate you.
No,
This is
it's
super
my
cool.
pleasure. This has been a great conversation. I hope you come back and visit. And
Yeah, no, of course. I'll get you some more local musicians too in here to kind of
I'd love
get
to
your
talk to 'em.
podcast rolling.
well, I want to get them in and play. I mean, this is
Oh
also
yeah, no, we won't leave though. You
Yeah.
gotta understand.
that's music to my ears. If
Yeah.
I could steal a phrase, but that's one of the things that I imagined doing here in the studio as well. Just make it a place that you can come and play. So, and I'm gonna secretly rope you in to singing on some of my stuff as well.
Oh,
So,
yeah, no, of
I'm
course,
working on
I'd
an album
love
right
to.
now. So this is my trade-off. But it's been a real joy talking to you and a real pleasure meeting you. So, good luck with your projects and good luck with Postcard and all the other songs you're doing. And how can people find you? Website, Spotify.
So you guys can find me
Yeah.
on social media. It's Gavyn Thorsell Official. Was Gavyn_Thorsell Official, and my
Spell it.
name is spelled Gavyn, and then _THORSELL Official. That's all of my social medias on Spotify.
Official, OFFICIALL, right?
Yeah,
Official. Okay, good.
Not the
Gavyn
best
Thorsell
speller, so I'm
Official.
glad you were here for that one.
Okay, good.
But
Probably
and
said
then
too fast. Now, is there an underscore there?
no,
Gavyn
there's just
_Thorsell
the
Official.
Thorsell, and there's no space with the official. So
Okay,
it's
good.
Just that, and that's my social media.
Cool.
And then you can also find me on Spotify just under my name, Gavyn Thorsell, and that's again GAVYNTHORSELL. And then and that's
Any
all my.
Any live
places to find
gigs
me
coming
online.
up?
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, because this comes out in a week. I will be at the Young Harris Wing House on the 29th of November.
Okay.
So yeah, you guys can find me there. I don't
And
think
then
I
just
have very much
generally,
past
do you have a
that yet.
website where you post upcoming gigs
I
and
actually
stuff?
don't have a website, but I do put all the gigs that I'm playing on my Instagram, and
Good.
that subsequently puts it on my Facebook. So
And when you have a gig coming up, do you promote it on Instagram?
yes, sir.
You did say
I
early
try-
on, you said you're not very big on social media.
Yeah,
but you
I'm
gotta-
so
you gotta
bad
do
at
that.
social media, so sometimes I'll get it out like that I'm playing somewhere a week before, and then sometimes it's 2 days to a day before. I'm terrible about that. I'm also still a blue collar worker. I work a regular 9 to 5 like everybody else. Still, hopefully, but one day this will be the career. I'm working real hard at it. I still got time because I'm still 18, but
Still plenty of time. So if you're, people listen to this at various parts of the world, but we're in the North Georgia area. We're sort of we're sitting in the town of, just outside the town of Blairsville. There's also Blue Ridge and Ellijay, which is close by. Young Harris on the other side of the mountain. Beyond that is a town called Hiawassee. So between those towns up here in North Georgia, right up against the North Carolina border, kind of get an idea where people are. If you're in the area, just kind of check around and see if you can find Gavyn.
yeah,
And,
it's trust me, it's not hard to find, man.
Cool. And the band is under your name?
Yeah, it's the band that I just started playing with, which we don't really have very many live gigs. They just went to Oklahoma with me because we just started out. Is Gavyn Thorsell and the Hopeful Few.
Ooh, I love that.
I know. I loved the Hopeful Few part because I'm just like, yeah, no, they're pretty hopeful to be playing with my dumb self. So
That's a great band name.
I thought it was really cool. So yeah,
Love it. Well, thank you for joining us today on Anatomy of a Song.
all right, thank you too.
Still I hate California when I don't make it back.
And that's our episode for today. Anatomy of a Song was written and produced at The Sawmill in Blairsville, Georgia. As always, feel free to contact me with your questions and or thoughts on your own composing and recording process. Our email address is, it's one long word, anatomyofasongpodcast@gmail.com. I'm your host, Greg Smith. We'll see you next time on Anatomy of a Song.
Going back to Oklahoma, out west, still I hate California when I don't make it back. I'll tell you where I'm at. I'll send a postcard back to Georgia.